In this movie, I'm going to talk about angles and radian measure. So first of all, we usually talk about angles in standard position. That means both rays have begun on the x-axis. One of the rays then moves. That's called the terminal ray because it terminates or stops at a certain spot. So we have the original ray, which is the initial ray, and then the terminal ray, which is where it stops. If the angle is opening in counterclockwise fashion, that's called a positive rotation. If it opens in a clockwise fashion, that's a negative rotation. Notice that I'm drawing these curved arrows to show you which way it's rotating. So whenever you show an angle, it's important to show that curved part. For example, if I want to show an angle of 450 degrees, I say, okay, my initial ray is here. My terminal ray then moves around 360 degrees plus another 90, so it would stop right there, and that's an angle of 450 degrees. If I didn't draw this middle circle part, you wouldn't know that it had gone all the way around the circle to begin with. If I wanted to show negative 170 degrees, I would say, okay, it's going that way, very close to the axis, and that would be the way I'd show negative 170 degrees. Now let's talk about radian measure. If you take any circle and look at its radius and wrap that radius around the circle, you could show that there are 1, 2, a little more than 3 radii in that circle, and mathematicians have found that there are actually pi radians in a half of a circle, in a semicircle. So that pi radians in angle measure is equivalent to 180 degrees. That's where 2 pi radii equals the circumference comes from. So we can now convert from radian measure to degree measure. Let's say we had 30 degrees and wanted to know what it is as radians. We would multiply by the number 1 in a funny form. Since we want degrees to cancel, we're going to put 180 degrees in the denominator, and it's equivalent in radian measure in the numerator. The degrees then cancel, and if you put into your calculator, if you're bad at reducing fractions, put in 30 divided by 180 equals math, enter, enter. The math button is in the first column of your calculator. Your calculator will then give you 1/6, so my answer is pi over 6. Let's convert degrees to radians. Radians to degrees. Let's say we had an angle of 5 pi over 6, and we wanted to know what that is as degrees. Well, I'm going to multiply by a fraction equal to 1, and I want the pi to cancel, so I'm going to put pi in the denominator, and this time put the degrees in the numerator. Pi cancels. Put into your calculator 5 times 180 divided by 6 equals math, enter, enter. And you should get 150 degrees.